Welcome back to another episode of Tim's Garage. On this episode, we do radiator mounts and coolant hoses. So one of the last things we did do before we put the motor in is get the radiator mounted. So it's got two ways you have to mount it. It's got this donut on the side that you have to put something around it to stop it from going sideways, and then also something to plate off the end to stop it from moving left and right. Probably not as necessary because the second way you have to mount it is on the bottom. The second mounting place is down there. Got that little rubber thing. This is all it is. And you just need a plate that sits around this, and this can go through, so just center it. So we're going to have to build a plate off down here. This is the old one for the radiator that came with the Patrol, but as you can see, it's a little bit set off to the side here. This is just a plate to keep it high enough. That's not actually part of the car. So we're going to have to figure out how high we want it, because we need to chop off these mounts up here. This is with the factory mounts. This little part here can't go far enough back in because it hits the cross support here, so we just need to cut a little hole out for this guy and also cut this mount off. You can move this into place. You can see that it hits there before it gets nice and flush down the whole side. So it will seal on this factory seal here. Just some rubber just on the edge of this, so that should be enough to keep all the air flowing through the radiator and not going around. Then we will have to have a plate or something across the top where there'll be a gap between these two. The fans might actually, I think the fans have something on their shroud that might actually do that. Yeah, they do. Right here, I don't know if you can see it, but so the radiator obviously goes in this gap here, and this bit's at the top that kind of goes over. So that might not need to do any plate on the top, might just need to do some rubber, we'll see. Alright, so first we're going to chop these mounts off. Get rid of those brackets, as you can see, but they're not exactly sitting flush yet because there's still that little bit that sticks out. So we now need to cut that little bit off and see if it fits any better. Hopefully we don't have to actually cut into this support. Hopefully just that gone is enough to get it there. Cut the little bits away. Gets much closer now. And you can see it down here, sitting on these plates here. So they won't be there in the end, but it just gives it the rough height. So it looks pretty flush with the top here, which is pretty much where I want it. I don't want it higher because then some of the radiator is going to be blocked by this top piece. But I mean, I can always cut it away a little bit. It is the support, but anyway, it doesn't matter that much. But yeah, so now we just need to make two plates to go down the bottom here, to go from, if you can see, back behind here. We're just going to weld it on behind here. It's going to come out underneath this bit of rubber, and that should support it upwards and keeping the bottom inwards as well. Here's both our plates. They're pretty much exactly 70 by 60, which is nice. And now what we need to do is, I already measured roughly where the hole needs to be in the middle of it. So it's either measured out to be about 35. So I'm just going to go to the 40 mark. And then obviously has to be centered in this direction. So that's that. And that should be exactly center. 30, 40, yep. So right in the middle of those two, get a hole punch. So there we go. Got a hole punch there, so now we're going to have to drill it out. Fortunately, I don't have the right size, nor do I have a hole saw bit that's big enough for that rubber mount. So the biggest drill bit I have I'm going to use, and then I'm probably going to use a Dremel or maybe just round it with the actual drill bit. As you can see, our hole is not fitted, so we're going to try to Dremel it out. Let's see how that goes. Should fit in there nice now. Yep. Doesn't go the whole way, but that's alright. I can fix that. That'll do it. Sits down in there pretty nice, pretty snug, can't really move at all. That one's all done. Now we just need to do the same one, same thing to that one. So here are our two plates, all nice and beveled. So they fit in there nicely. So no play in them either, which is good. So now we're gonna go put it on the bottom of the radiator and see how well it fits. See that there's these screws here, which I don't know why, because this plate's all siliconed on, and then also whatever that is, maybe it's a bolt from the other side. Oh, maybe it is all just bolted and then siliconed in there. But this plate is going to go underneath that head of that bolt, so hopefully I'll never have to get it out, because I don't think it's going to be possible. So it's just going to go under there. It also needs to go on like a slight angle. But yeah, so as you can see, it's offset. So my idea was to have it this way, going like that, but put the radiator too far out. So instead of just chopping this side off, I just spun it around, and I might just radius this side after I know it's all good. So we have the bottom mounts all done. So now we just need to figure. So we have the bottom mounts done. So now we need to figure out. So we have the bottom mounts done. So now we need to figure out these top mounts here. So it's just a donut. So we just need to stop this from going left and right, and forward, backwards, and up and down. Well, not so much down, but stop it from going up. So what we're gonna do, so here we have what we're gonna do. This goes in the center of the box, and then all these go around. If I can just lean them all against. So they go around, which stops it from going down, left, right, and that direction. There'll also be another one exactly like this for the other side. And then we've got this piece, which there'll be a hole cut out in this one. So he'll actually slot into there, and he'll basically clamp himself to this piece here. Well, yeah, it's all falling to pieces, isn't it? Looks something like that, with a bolt hole going straight through here, and this guy goes actually through that metal, so he pivots, and he'll keep this guy all held in there. Now, that's the one that I haven't made yet. I cut it all. It still needs to be finished. Here's one that I was testing with. So as you can see, there's a cut there and a hole up on the top here. And so this guy just slots in to there, and then he crimps down. And as you can see, this guy fits in there. And when he crimps down, he can't move anywhere. The rubber mount's on there, and then so obviously when the radiator goes on, that's going to be pushed up. Well, it's going to be sitting there and the radiator is going to slot down into it. That's why there has to be a removable piece. And then I can get him in. So that guy will be on there like that, and that's all you'll see from this side. And then he will be welded from over here somewhere up into the body over there. So don't exactly know where yet. Here's the final product. As you can see, the radiator mount's sitting in there. The actual box, square box here, is welded to a piece that's factory on the car, which has a bolt up here and there's a bolt behind this piece, and that little piece comes out. So I actually just welded it to that with just a flat bar that comes out. It's not exactly strong sideways, but I mean, the radiator's not really moving. And as you can see, I've done both sides and I can't really move it. And so all we need to do is put that little piece in, run the bolt in. I'm going to shorten these bolts, but as you can see, that's how that side is. And this side is completely bolted in as well. This side had a little bit different. I don't know if I'll be able to show you. You probably see that difference I was talking about. The height here is very different to this one because the actual tank of the radiator would have hit as you slid the tank up. But as you get past this point, you can actually come outwards and then keep going up. So it just needed to be notched a little bit. So here's the piece. It's that bit with the two bolts. The bolts go, one goes down there and then one goes up there, and then the other hole's for this rubber piece. And so it just slips in under there, and then it gets bolted in. Set them up. Got some welding wire and some cable. Just got some epoxy enamel, just matte gloss black. I'm just going to spray that on. Down the bottom you can see the bottom radiator hose. So this is just a factory Commodore radiator hose here. It does touch the rail, so I will be putting something between it. It might be changed a little bit because, so yeah, this is the factory Commodore crossover pipe here. So when it's actually in its final place where it's all bolted down, it might not actually hit the rail. But then as we go over that side, over this side, we just need to go straight down from this fitting. So that's what this hose is going to do. And then it's got a protective sleeve on it, so because it's going to rub against the pump over here. So that one's just going to go down, and then off the bottom of that, we're just going to get a metal pipe, and then we've got this bend down here, which is going to be on this guy, and then it's going to sit something like that. So should be something like that with a metal pipe over there in between those two. And so for the top hose, we can just use the factory hose. This is what actually came on the Commodore. So that end over there, this end up here. As you can see, fits nicely in there. So yeah, that will be the cooling. We also have the two lines coming out of here for the heater core. And they're just back there. That's what those two guys are. So we just need to run two lines to them and another one back. The only issue we're kind of running into is this one is a 16mm outside diameter. This one's a 19. But both of those back there are both 16s. So hopefully this 16mm outside diameter hose can fit over that larger one, so it might take a little bit of getting it on there. Hopefully it doesn't split. have the right tool at the right time. It actually didn't turn out too bad. Decided to cut it with an angle grinder. A little bit of a cut. But anyway. Alright, hopefully you can see that. That's the mount down there for the radiator. So she just sits in there nicely. Both sides done. This is the cooling system all done pretty much, except for one pipe and some hose clamps. So we've got that down there. Shoots across, goes to that bend, which you can't see at all. Goes to that bend, comes up, goes into the bottom inlet, and then up the top here we're just using that factory line. And here is the mount bolted in. And this mount nicely bolted in. So that's it for the coolant. Well, actually, then there's two heater hoses here. Still don't have the hose clamps tightened up on them, but they just run up to the heater core. And that's it. That's gonna do it for this episode, guys. Hope this helps someone with how to put it in. Probably not. I didn't really do it probably the easiest way, but at least that's how I did it. So if you enjoyed it, hit that like button and subscribe. Until next time, see ya.